start from here. Obtaining products of recombinant DNA means what? If we have produced the recombinant DNA, it means we are going to produce a particular protein. So how we will get it? We know that if we will put the recombinant DNA in a particular organism, then we will get the protein product. But on large scale production, it is not possible to produce the things in a particular environment. So what we will have to do, we will have, for the large scale production, what we need to have a special arrangement so that we can produce a lot of product, lot of protein product, so that we can utilize those products commercially. So for that purpose, here we will talk what we are doing. Okay, and not only the for the production of recombinant DNA, not only just we are producing the protein, we will have to do downstream processing. Means what? If we suppose we have inserted a particular gene of interest in a particular organism, then we will have to get that particular protein out of the whole protein of that particular organism. Because suppose we have taken a bacteria. In that bacteria, suppose we are inserting recombinant DNA, so that recombinant DNA will start producing the protein. But after some time, if you lyse the bacteria, then we will get the protein. But that protein will be the mixture of recombinant DNA as well as the product of the genome also. Means most of the proteins which we have collected by lysing the bacteria, okay, the transformed bacteria, will belong to that particular bacteria only, and only one gene which we have inserted will produce a specific protein. So what we will have to do, we will have to separate our product, means that particular protein out of the whole protein. So after that, what we will do, there is a step-by-step process. So it is not an easy process. So we will see, suppose we have made a transgenic organism, we are going for a transgenesis, then what we will do next to get the product, okay, on large scale. So here the ultimate aim of the insert the desired gene into the vector is to collect protein from the bacteria, animal, plant, yeast or yeast cell, or etc. So what we are doing, we are putting the recombinant DNA either in bacteria or animal or the plant or the yeast. So what would be our ultimate aim? Our ultimate aim is to collect a particular protein for which we have inserted the gene. So this gene either we will put in the bacteria or animal or the plant or the yeast. So we have talked much about all these things before also. So the protein expressed from the gene of another animal or the plant or organism source is called recombinant protein. You know what is the meaning of recombinant DNA? Like that, we will use the same concept for the protein also. So what is the meaning of recombinant protein? Recombinant protein means if we are producing a particular protein from the another source of the organism. Suppose we are going to express the plant protein in the animal or animal protein in the plant. Suppose if we are going to produce the human protein in rabbit, then it will be called as recombinant protein. Okay, so if we are using two different sources from two different species, two different lineages, or means any of the two organisms which doesn't belong to the same clade, so the product which we are getting will be called as recombinant protein. Okay, for the large scale recombinant protein production, specific techniques are needed. So suppose we have got a particular recombinant yeast. Okay, so in that particular yeast, we will get the recombinant protein. After that, for the large scale production, we need to have some specific conditions. So we need to have some specific things. So we will see what are those things which will be required for the large scale production. So in large scale protein production, bioreactors are needed. So one main important the creator of the condition in which we are producing a large scale protein will be called as bioreactor. And what is bioreactor? This is just a vessel. Okay, so we will see what is the specificity of all these bioreactors. So in large scale protein production, bioreactors are needed to grow large volume of the host cells with recombinant DNA, and the volume ranges from 100 to 1000 liters of the amount. To just see how much amount we are how much amount of, or we can say how much volume of the organism we are going to produce. So you just see the this here the volume would be 100 to 1000 liters. Okay, the bioreactors are large vessels in which large raw materials are biologically converted into specific product and enzymes, etc. So what we are doing, there is a specific vessel. In that vessel, what we will do, suppose we have got a yeast in which we have put the recombinant DNA. So that those yeast will be produced in the amount of 100 to 1000 liters in these vessels. Okay, there are some specificities which would be associated with this bioreactor. So here, so in this bioreactor, you need to remember this thing, that for the large scale protein production, one specific chamber or vessel will be needed, and that vessel will be called as bioreactor. Okay, now, and in this bioreactor, we are producing the protein or enzyme or whatever product it is. Okay. Now, the bioreactor provides optimum condition for the achievement of the desired product at definite pH, temperature, substrate, salt, and oxygen, etc. It means in that particular bioreactor, in that particular chamber, what we are doing, we are creating an environment in that we can produce a lot of our gene product with the protein. So you just see two types of bioreactors here. Here in this figure has been shown. One is called stir tank and another is called sparge stir tank. So here you just see mainly two types of bioreactors are in use. Nowadays, we are using two types of bioreactors in which what we are doing, we are creating a condition so that in this bioreactor, a specific pH will be provided, a specific temperature will be provided, some substrate will be provided. What are those substrates? These substrates will help those cells to be in to keep all these cells in living condition. So the cells will be needed a lot of nutrients, a lot of essential materials. So those materials here will be, here it has been written as a substrate. Some salts will be needed, and after that some of the cells will require oxygen also for their respiration process, for their production of ATP. So here you just see here two large vessels are there, and what would be the volume of these vessels? You just see it looks that these vessels are so much small, but here actually these are 100 to 1000 liters large vessels. Okay, so this one is called stir tank and this one is called sparge stir tank. And what we are doing, we are creating a particular environment so that our cells are growing. Suppose yeast needs a particular temperature, yeast needs a particular pH, substrate, their food, salts, and oxygen for their survival and for their growth. So we will put all these materials here. Means some salts we will put, the specific kind of solution will be put so that that particular pH will be maintained, and some the specific temperature we will maintain in this vessel so that yeast will grow. Okay, so as per the cell, we are giving different temperature, pH, and we can say the whole environmental conditions so that the cells will grow continuously. Okay, so you just see this one is the stir tank and this one is the sparge stir tank. So what is the difference among both of these tanks? You just see here, uh, in both the vessels, you just see stirring is going on. Stirring means what it is doing here, a propeller kind of structure would be there, and all the time stirring will happen. And due to this stirring, suppose we have put some cells, so all these cells should not be precipitated all the time. All these cells should grow in the log phase. Okay, for their continuous growth, what we are doing, we are making a homogeneous solution. So what it is doing, it will all the time, means here for the stirring, what will happen, what suppose we have put some bacteria or yeast, so all these bacterial populations or the yeast population should be in the homogeneous condition so that they can grow properly in an appropriate number. So that for that purpose, what we are doing, continuously we are stirring the solution. So by this stirring, what happens, a homogeneous condition will be maintained. And here you just see in sparge stir tank, what happens, you just see again stirring occurs, but along with the stirring, one more thing is also there. You just see here sparge of air is there. So here an instrument will be fitted so that here all the time oxygen you can provide to the cell. So if your cells need oxygen and large scale of oxygen. So what we will do, along with this steering, you will have to provide oxygen also. You just see, so here this oxygen will be provided. So this oxygen will give will create some conditions so that your cells will grow enormously, and the rate of the growth of cells would be good, as in case of log phase only. Okay, and what extra thing this air bubble is doing, you just see, you are here, you just see here, you are sparging the air. So by this sparging of this air, first thing I told you that the supply of oxygen will be done by this by providing the air, and along with that, what happens, it increases the surface area of the reaction also. So you know that if any of the air bubble will be produced in the solution, then ultimately it increases the surface area, and when the surface area will be increases, then what will happen, it will induce the cells to grow more. Means here the cells will be induced for their more and more growth. So here you just see two types of tanks are there. So as per your cell, as per your protein, as per your host cell, you will have to provide certain conditions. So as per your requirement, you can choose any one of both of these. So either you can use this stir tank, either you can use sparge tank. So but when if you are having both the options, then this sparged stir tank will be more beneficial as compared to this stir tank. Okay, so this one will have the additional quality as you are increasing the surface area for their much and much more growth. Okay, now one specific point has been written here. You will have to keep this point in your mind, as to maintain the cells in log phase, the used media is consistently removed and replaced by new nutrient media. So what happens, suppose you have put some yeast cells, okay, and you have put a lot of materials which will be required for their growth. Okay, so you have provided nutrient media, you have provided some salts, and all these materials which will be required for that particular cells. Suppose we are putting yeast. So what will happen after some time, when cells will start dividing, so their number will be increases continuously. But what we need to have to maintain the number of cells in log phase. You know, the growth phase, lag, log, steady phase is there. So all the time in this tank, we need to have to maintain the cells in log phase only. It means we need to maintain their growth in log phase only. It should not move in next phase. Means in either of the uh, uh, the plateau phase or any else phase. Okay, so we need to have this one. You will have to keep this thing in your mind, that all the time you will have to put these cells in this condition only, log phase. So what is going on in this vessel? In this vessel, continuously the cells will divide, and their number will be increased. After some time, what will happen, all the nutrients will be consumed, and the population of all these cells will be increased. After that, the cell will move to the next phase, next growth phase. Then it will start going, it will start losing the log phase. So what we need to have, what we will do, we will take most of the media along with the yeast from this vessel, and what we will put the new nutrient media. So that what we will do, by this process, means if we are replacing the new nutrient media with the previous one, then we are decreasing the population of all these cells, and we are providing the extra nutrient material, so that the previous condition will be maintained. And what will happen, now cells will get the new media, and here the number of cells or the population of cell will be decreased, because most of the media we have taken out. Okay, due to this, what we have done, we have removed most of the population of all these yeast cells from this vessel. So if we will remove it, then what will happen, the number of cells, or we can say that either yeast or bacteria, will be very much less in number, and we are providing the new nutrient media, so it will be beneficial for those cells to grow further. So by this process, by replacing the new nutrient media with the old one, what we are doing, we are maintaining the cells in log phase only. So you will have to remember that in this chamber, in this vessel, in this bioreactor, we are maintaining the cells in their log phase only. Okay, so you will have to remember this point in your mind as far as the objective question or fill in the blanks kind of means any kind of one number questions is concerned. Okay, now we'll see the downstream processing. I told you it is suppose we have got the protein product. After that, we will have to do further processing. That those further processing will be called as downstream processing. So I told you that old media will be collected. So in that old media, we have collected a lot of yeasts with the recombinant DNA. So that condition, that after that condition, what will happen? We will have to go through the downstream processing to get that particular recombinant protein. So after growth of a cell, a lot of step-by-step processes are followed to collect the product in desired form up to reach the market. So before providing the material or the product or the enzyme or the protein in the market, we need to have to do some processing. And what are these steps? What are these processes? All these processes will be called as downstream processing. So here what we will do, separation and purification of a specific desired product or protein. So we know that we are producing the recombinant protein. So what we will do, we will have to separate this recombinant protein from the rest of products of the cell. You know that the cell is producing their own protein also. So you will have to separate the recombinant protein out of the whole protein which is being produced by that particular cell. So what we will do, you will have to separate your recombinant protein from the rest of the protein which have been produced by the yeast or the bacteria or any of the cell. Okay, so here separation will be done. After the purification will be done. So separation and purification means separation and purification means altogether it means that you are you are separating your desired protein, desired product or recombinant protein from rest of the protein. After that, what we will do, you will have to preserve that particular protein. So suppose you have separated your particular protein, then before reaching to the market, you need to have to preserve that particular protein. Otherwise, suppose you have got the protein, and if you are putting the protein in as like that only, then what will happen? After certain point of time, the protein will be degraded, or the protein will lose its activity. So what you need to have, you will need to have to follow a particular procedure through which you will preserve that particular recombinant protein. Okay, so at a specific condition, as to prevent any compromisation in their activity, what you will have to do, you will have to preserve it. And there are several preservation techniques through which you can preserve the protein. Sometimes it needs 4 degrees centigrade to preserve the protein. Sometimes if you are lyophilizing, means if you are drying up that particular protein, that is called as lyophilization. Sometimes lyophilization will be needed. So for different proteins, for different enzymes, for different recombinant proteins, different preservation techniques are there. So you need to have you need to preserve the particular protein in their own way. Okay,